fun. Okay, I've got two different ways that I'm going to show you how to trim up a fluffy butt. And I really like this for my breeds that got like the fluff. Let's see if I can do it inside there. Got this fluff here that's kind of, this tends to get really matted. The undercoat really gets packed in there. So I am going to show you two different ways depending on what your dog will allow. Miss Fiona's pretty good for the most part, so she'll let me do them both ways without much fuss. But first, you want to comb everything out just to make sure, and then try to show you here. Hold on, Fiona. It's kind of hard to see, but if you brush outwards, don't brush down, you want to fluff it with your comb. And I'll show you that on the other side too, where I don't have quite so many windows popping out there. Sorry guys. A little bit. Okay. This first thing here, I'm going to use my wide 7 blade from Affordable Grooming Shears on this. I really, I like a 7 for this process just because I feel like it cuts really nice, but you are more than welcome to use a 10 or pretty much whatever, preferably a shorter blade. I think gives you a better finish, so I wouldn't use like a 1-inch blade to really do this because you can't go over that hair lightly, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. See if I can get a good angle here. Okay, so we're doing this side, and what we're going to do is we are going to take the clipper and just very, very lightly skim over that hair. Whoop. She's gonna wiggle around here now. But you are skimming that hair so that it makes a really nice rounded shape, kind of. And then to finish it off, let me see if this will work better. The downside of working alone is that there we go. Okay, so let's try this again. I am going to fluff it out. Wide 7, skim it off. Okay. And so that's going to take off a good bit of hair. You want to make sure your dog's not going to be jumping and moving around a lot because that can obviously make you take off too much. You don't want to scalp the skin there. But anyway, so then I take thinning shears. You can also use your, whoops, hold on baby. You can also use your curves or straights, really whatever scissors you have and are comfortable with. And you just kind of want to clean it up a little bit so that it's just a nice little line here. So you can kind of see, take this down. Not holding my scissors very well, but Now, one thing I do try to warn against is taking your scissors and putting them way deep in there and then thinning it out. You really do not want to thin out your thick coated dogs like that, because what can happen, I'm not saying it always happens, but what can happen is that when it starts growing in, the new growth coming from way deep down against the skin is mixing with this longer stuff, and it can result in worse matting than you originally had. So I really try to discourage thinning the hair that way. But as you can see, she's looking pretty nice and tight in the booty area. And then if you look at it from the side, well, the light's maybe, it's very nice and rounded, much shorter than this other side that we got going on over here. So that is one way that you can do that, just by taking off the bulk of it with clippers. And then another way, which I will show you on this other cheek here. Again, fluff. And then I'm going to use these. These are my curved thinning shears. They are the Mako curves from Affordable Grooming Shears, which is pretty much where I get all of my all my scissors and stuff from. You take this, and you are going to go down in the direction of the hair. You do not want to go across the hair, because that's when you end up with those chop lines, and nobody likes choppy. So you really just want to follow the growth of the hair, making sure to not take off big chunks or anything like that. And the goal that you're going to want to try to do, hold on baby, is to, no, you gotta stand up, silly girl, is to make the booty cheeks match. Sometimes that can be a little bit more difficult than it looks, but I seem to tend to get one to look really, really nice, and then one tends to look not as nice or something, or I can't get them perfectly even or whatever. She doesn't come very much, so I do tend to take hers pretty short, just so that her busy mama doesn't have to worry about it for a while. Oops. And you'll see here again, I'm using my chunkers, which is what I used on the first ones. These are also by Affordable Grooming Shears. I truthfully don't remember the specific name of these, but they've got pretty big teeth versus a thinning shear, which has really close together teeth. You can really use either one. The only thing about the chunkers that you'll want to be careful of is they tend to leave more lines and stuff if you've got a thinner coated dog, versus a thinning shear, which doesn't leave the big chunky lines quite so bad. So it's really just whatever type of tool your dog's hair requires. And then if your dog has a tail like this, I always cut the bulk of it off. Hold on. Okay, stand up. Thank you. And then lay it down. And they say that for dogs like Australian Shepherds and stuff, you want their tail to smile. So it needs to kind of be a smiley face, essentially. So that's what I try to go for. So kind of smiley. But so anyway, there's that, and that's pretty much just your basic booty trim. Let's see if I can get a nice after shot. Oh, Fiona, let us look at your booty. It's very cute. But that way it's nice and shortened, a lot easier to maintain, and that kind of stuff. So, I'm gonna flip you back this way. Sorry, guys. I think that's about it for all of that kind of stuff. If you have any other questions, just, hi, sweetie. Just feel free to ask. I try really hard to answer anything that I know the answer to. And if I don't, then I do try to find out. But, yeah. So, thanks, guys.